The static buzz of high-frequency tracking bit into my scales before the border even appeared, 3 minutes past the wire, and I was glowing like a neon sign on every tactical screen they owned. 2 warheads packed with atomic fire zeroed in on my thermal trail, hunting me with the cold mechanical hunger of a god. Facing total annihilation, I flung my talons wide, howling at the sky that I was one of them, a citizen, a human. I screamed my social security number and my old street name. Just months back, I was an ordinary guy before this nightmare skin took over. Initially, the power felt divine, like I'd finally won life's lottery, but that delusion shattered before the first sunset. I possessed zero predatory drive, and that mythical spark everyone talks about stayed stone-cold dead inside my chest. The change crushed my soul. I could not track a wounded rabbit, let alone grasp the brutal physics of aerial combat. Learning to even glide felt like an eternity. Living in that hellscape was just one long, agonizing lesson in survival. I spent my afternoons picking through rotting remains, playing the part of a pathetic, bottom-feeding scavenger. Snatching kills from actual killers barely kept me upright. A 160-ton frame demands a mountain of calories. Starving and broken, I actually thought about finding a real nest just to plead for some low-level scraps. I'd have happily been their slave, but since we couldn't talk, they just tried to gut me the second I appeared. No beast ever gave me the courtesy of a conversation before going for the throat. Endless defeat left me hollow right until I glimpsed the supply caravan snaking through the jagged peaks. Smanian merchants hauling goods over hundreds of kilometers from some mythic realm no one dared name. The goal was easy: drop from the clouds and snatch a pack animal to stop the gnawing in my gut. But my killer vibrations gave me away, alerting them to my location from over a kilometer out. Exposed, I dove, trapping a stallion amidst the chaos until a broken wooden box stopped me cold. Staring back at me in blocky, unmistakable print was a label for fortified iodized salt. My lungs seized, and the world went soft as salt water flooded my huge yellow pupils. This anatomy isn't designed for crying, but 6 months of pure misery finally snapped my mind. I'd eaten dirt to quiet the cramps and went weeks without a wink of sleep, drowning in sheer panic. I'd howled at the stars just to hear a voice and sobbed from the summits in total, crushing despair. The air shifted. I had a mission. I roared at them, needing to know where they scored that cargo. The lead merchant choked out my mother tongue, saying they did business with a strange land called the Republic. A total fluke, my civilization had crossed over as well. I forced him to lead the way right that second. Huck, my escort, was a pro who'd run the blockade into Republic airspace more than a few times. For a guy like him, my country was a realm of alien tech and dark, unsettling mysteries. My nation appeared 6 months back, wrapped in a gargantuan high-frequency energy dome. That vibrating curtain split 2 worlds that shared zero common ground. Within that border, sorcery died, replaced by the uncompromising cold logic of physics. The atmosphere was hostile. Any local beast that tried to push through usually just exploded or collapsed. If they survived the crossing, they just wasted away from some invisible, toxic environmental reaction. Because of that, my folks stayed put, never daring to step out into the untamed, mystical wilderness. Human biology and magic don't mix. Crossing paths causes permanent cellular-level destruction. The wall acted as a filter, keeping the 2 realities from poisoning each other. Nobody from the outside really saw the city, but they knew better than to kick that hornet's nest. It wasn't just railguns or jets scaring local lords. It was the Republic's brutal, surgical efficiency. My chest tightened. Was my whole world really just on the other side of that hill? Are my mom and dad still out there? That hope sent me skyward, pushing my wings to the breaking point. Hours later, the shield appeared. The second I breached it, my internal system started screaming. I was suffocating on clear air. My skull throbbed and my pulse raced like a panicked animal in a cage. This monster body was rejecting the sterile world, but there was no way I was retreating. I kept grinding until the scream of turbines filled the air and 2 rockets blew apart right in front of my nose. That was the final notice: land the bird, or prepare to be erased from existence. A gunship roared through the cloud, side hatch flung wide. A commander bellowed into a megaphone, "Creature, you're trespassing on restricted territory. Don't move and prepare for a shakedown. Stay calm. We follow the law here. You'll be treated right. Work with us during this questioning and we'll ensure your safety and your civil rights." Or things turned south in a heartbeat. The colonel didn't give a damn if the monster spoke the language. Orders were orders. If they hadn't been told to hold fire on anomalies unless they were attacked, the battalion would have turned that beast into a bloody pulp 5 minutes ago. He expected the monster would just blow him off. Things that powerful don't usually take commands. He braced for a massacre. Instead, the dragon stared at them like he'd just found his long-lost brother. It yelled, "Wait, don't shoot, I'm one of you!" It was the most insane thing I'd ever witnessed. A dragon speaking fluent English claiming he was a citizen. Dragon, I have no clue what that's supposed to mean. Care to explain? I'm just an ordinary guy. I woke up like this. The name's Hank. I'm 26. My social security number is 123456. I live at 20 Ching Road. My folks Bill and Mary own that little corner market back in town. The colonel went cold. With the total comms blackout, no outsider could possibly know those personal details. Inventing that level of specific intel would be a miracle for some wild beast. Mr. Wang, stay level-headed. I'm verifying your claims. If they're solid, you're off the hook. Until then, hover outside our line for safety. Sir, I can't. My wings are completely shot. Could I get a snack? I haven't eaten a single bite in 5 days. I copy that. Moments later, Colonel Han made the call to confirm the identity. The whole story checked out. A transport touched down carrying 5 tons of raw flank. I lost my mind and started shredding it. My belly was full, but I was still stuck. That beef tasted like dry insulation compared to my usual prey. Nothing like the fresh kills from across the border. I gave the colonel a look of pure confusion. He smirked. The wildlife out there is saturated with mana and high-octane energy. That quality is light years beyond our local farm-raised cattle. You've developed an expensive palate. Normal meat is just trash to you now. Hang tight, the scientists are on their way. The specialists will figure out how to get you back to your old self. They'll need some blood and some scans, but you'll pull through. I just gave a nod. I'd accepted being a lab rat the second I crossed the line. Besides, dragons meant fast. Even an autopsy wouldn't leave a mark. Honestly, I was dying to see my own insides. A few hours crawled by before the research team finally rolled up in their vans. They took some tissue and sent a drone down my throat to map out my internal organs. They claimed the tiny bot would just pass through my system eventually. No big deal. One minor problem, I accidentally digested the entire drone while it was in my belly. It was delicious, like a concentrated shot of vitamins. I asked for another one. Dr. Ding, the lead researcher, stared at me as he started putting the pieces together. The robot's casing had something my body was starving for. He went to order more equipment. "Hold on, Professor," a voice interrupted. "Forget the machines. Let's try the batteries." It was you, the analyst, who first realized electricity could jumpstart these mythical beings. 5 months ago, we'd detained a stray angel who had jumped the border fence. She was dying for mana and had fallen into a deep death-like trance. The medical team tried every trick, but they didn't understand her biology. Nothing worked. The only sign of life came when they hit her with the shock paddles. Her heart started. You figured the angel was stuck in a power save mode, just waiting for a charge. The paddles gave her a spark, but she needed way more juice. She told them to crank the voltage. The crew listened and let the high-voltage current rip through her over and over again. The gauge screamed past 200,000 volts before those otherworldly eyes finally jolted open. The quiet was suffocatingly tense. Logic was a joke here. In this dreamscape, the laws of nature were completely rewritten. "Drop the science talk," I growled. "Just wire me up." Ding gave his crew the green light immediately. They dragged over massive industrial power lines and jammed them right between my teeth. High-tension current surged through my system, burning away the mental fog and that agonizing magic depletion. I clamped down on the copper, feasting on the juice, as a dark sense of relief took hold. Later, I described it to the crew as pure adrenaline. My entire frame was buzzing. If a simple jumpstart turns you into a deity, then the price of godhood is embarrassingly cheap. Ding gave a thin smile. "The wall is massive, Hang. Before we arrived, electricity was a physical impossibility." "No power, you mean they were just too primitive to figure it out?" He gave a slow headshake. "No, I mean it literally didn't exist in this dimension. Nothing could generate it. Outside our perimeter, free-moving charge carriers just don't occur naturally. 0 electrons means 0 voltage. You can't draw a current from a scientific void. Magic creates a flicker and there is lightning, but the physics lack the actual particles. It is a hollow show. The reality past our gates is way more twisted than we ever suspected, Mr. Hang. Out there, everything on a microscopic level is smothered by a permanent layer of supernatural static. The stars and the moon aren't celestial bodies. They are something far more synthetic. They are just dense clusters of raw, bottled-up energy. Our intel suggests the outside world is essentially a giant high-efficiency factory for harvesting spirits. The gods are the owners. Every conscious being is just livestock kept dumb until the harvest. Obviously, the masters do not want their cattle getting an education or building tech, so power is ours alone. Exactly, but Ding warned, listen very closely. Voltage isn't the magic bullet for monsters you think it is. The Angel's diagnostics prove that this current doesn't actually boost your inner power ceiling. It is just a shortcut, a faster way to top off the tank than the old school ways. You aren't actually getting stronger or evolving right now. Your system was just running on empty, your internals were dormant, and the juice is just waking them. This is just restoring your peak state. Anyway, the sun is going down. We should move. Let's head to the research hub. We have way better recovery tech over there. The next day at the base, my folks were breathless. Our son turned into a dragon. Federal agents tracked down Huang Kangping and his wife immediately after that surreal phone call ended. They spun a yarn about classified projects and rushed them to the compound for a special visit. Command claimed Hank was under massive psychological strain and needed his parents to keep him tethered. The frantic couple raced to Behe City only to be slapped with a reality that defied logic. We haven't officially confirmed that the creature is your son, the commander told them flatly. That's why we need you here. He hit play on a video of the massive black dragon's movements. They watched in stunned silence. Honey, I think that really is our boy, Mom choked out. He might be a beast now, but that lazy, half-hearted vibe, that's definitely him. That is our knucklehead. Colonel, when can we see him for real? Screens aren't enough. We need to be close. He's waiting right this way. Luhan escorted the trembling couple into the vault where the black dragon was currently charging up. When the breakers flipped, I woke up and saw them. My first instinct was to pull them into a hug. Luhan shrieked for me to hold. I froze. My 170-ton frame would have flattened them. Is it really you, kid? It's me, Dad. Fine. Prove it. What's your specific blood type? Pop quiz. Best fruit durian. My most haunting memory from that muggy summer fair, the afternoon I was dumped. You straight up deserted me. Just a terrified kid wailing while chasing your taillights for 100 yards. You bought my silence for 50 cents afterward. Now you care about my dating life, Dad. I have pride left. That is him, Colonel. Our pathetic boy through and through. Louis Han finally exhaled after hours of tension. Surviving the parental gauntlet was the final clearance that actually mattered to the High Command. We sat for 2 hours, plus the clock hitting 11 p.m. until my folks looked completely drained. As they headed toward the nearby dorms to crash, Louis Han suddenly intercepted them at the door. Pardon the late visit, Mrs. Pan. Our tech team flagged a post on your personal social media page. It mentions your boy becoming a beast photos and all. Did you leak it? Man, my head is spinning. This is top secret national intel. It stays buried. Can we scrub it before the whole world sees? Our hackers killed it instantly. 0 leaks. I am actually here to fix your son's legal identity. Look, he's a dragon now. For the public, his origins are under a total media blackout. He is joining the service under a fresh name as a naturalized mythical being. This bypasses the paperwork and mitigates the threat. He has been prepped. The mission outweighs the man. Moving forward, once he is in the scales, the name Hang is dead and buried. His code name is Deos, a northern predator. Since Deos is a stranger, you must stay cold and distant. Never approach him in public. Above all, never call that creature your son again. My father winced at the brutality, but he knew the colonel's logic was absolute and grim. Louis Han offered a quiet payout. In a heavy silence, they sold our family connection for cash. Meanwhile, at the riverside bunker, Dr. Ding and his lab techs hovered over jars of my black blood. Even with top-tier tech, the core secrets of my fresh biology remained an uncrackable, glowing riddle. Someone suggested checking the black market. Rumor says ancient alchemists can distill dragon blood into god serums. Supposedly, one hit could turn a grunt into a biological tank with dragon-like power. Then they found a lead. A full-grown red dragon was sighted south, allegedly peddling her own blood to drug cartels. A shot at a live target, Ding muttered, eyes burning with a terrifying clinical greed. Catching a wild red would kill a human team, but they had me. A black dragon is the king. A red cannot compete, especially with heavy artillery on my wings. Throw in some air support and she is toast. Once I shift human, they will even find me a girl. The more Ding mulled it over, the more he enjoyed playing architect with my life. But first, I needed a backstory. A myth to let me work openly while serving the state's shadows. Dr. Ding trapped me and started selling his little movie script for my future. Deos, the scarred god wounded in a demonic war, trapped by a pack of rabid wolfmen. Out of nowhere, a gorgeous brave explorer saves the beast and mends his broken spirit. Wait, Doc, are you serious? Who is going to buy this cinematic trash? What supermodel explores war zones, finds a dying beast, and decides to play nurse? If we are doing this, are we throwing in a fake romance to sell the pitch? The monster loves the girl, stays like a loyal dog, trying to win her heart. Defecting for love. It is cheesy, Ding admitted, but it is exactly what the public eats up. People hate the truth. They want a legend they can toast to at dinner. They will buy it because they want to. We will label you the nation's son-in-law, and popularity will peak. That story makes it 10 times easier for you to act as our shadow operative. I get the angle. Fine. Just do not cry when my acting kills your little fairy tale. Thanks for playing ball. No acting needed. Just be cold, arrogant, and unreachable. We will fix the rest. The script is locked. Just one detail, you get to help us pick your leading lady. Anxiety ate at me. This was no job. It was an ambush. Ding wavered before his mask reset. Why be shy if you think this is a setup Huang you're dead on? You need an anchor. A spouse keeps your mind from shattering under the load. Also, the scientists are desperate to gut your new anatomy. We need proof a man in scales can breed with other things. You're a glorified lab rat, a giant killer who needs a government matchmaker. My gut churned. This was a devil's bargain. I told him to slow down. I've forgotten how to be human. Dating at 100 tons is a logistical wreck. Relax, Huang. We found the key to getting your skin back. A rogue red dragon is selling her blood to the global mob. She plays human to close deals. If she can shift, why am I stuck? I said we should buy the secret. Ding smirked. They wouldn't pay or wait. The plan is simple. We use force. This isn't malice. It's national security. That red is a walking disaster who's left a trail of ruins. She's draining trade routes and selling secrets to every criminal out there. Honestly, we've wanted to wipe her out for years. Bagging a live red in the Badlands is a death sentence for most. I'm a low-tier beast. How do I kill a god? Ding saw my fear. He swore black dragons are the kings of the kill floor. You're not alone. High Command is moving a tactical net to assist. Jets and teams will trap her while you finish it. I felt the weight. Alone, I was roadkill. Here, the country's entire arsenal had my back. I lived on the public's dime safe while the world burned. I felt the power surge. Millions watched. My heart turned to stone. Fine, I'll hunt the red, but I need to kill easier targets first. I'm new to this body and need an edge. Ding nodded, expecting it. He tapped a map. A chimera leaves 62 miles from the post. It's level 5, a perfect punching bag for a trainee. Then a level 6 phoenix, 74 miles west. That's your next mark. Finally, a level 7 of fire demon, 124 miles north. The final test. Kill that, and the red is easy. I stared, claws digging into the floor. Level 7 is a living nuke, 100 tons of dynamite in one heart. You want a miracle? Ding shook his head. I had no idea. Look at the 50,000 kilowatt-hours you've eaten this week. That's 40 tons of high explosives. You're a walking apocalypse, Huang. You're an apex predator. We chose that demon because you're its nightmare. Black dragons were designed specifically to kill those fire breathers. It uses hellfire, but your scales drink magic for breakfast. Most dragons think volcanic pits are a nice vacation spot. Your kind goes there just for a fight. The dragon always wins. If you fail, we have backup. Our missiles still bite hard out there. For example, a 20,000-ton warhead. It hits like a few hundred tons a spark you can easily handle. The demon is just molten rock held by a prayer. One hit kills the core and puts it to sleep forever. If things go south, we use missiles to level the field. I couldn't argue with that safety net. I inked the deal. 48 hours later, armed with 2 PL-12 missiles, I was airborne. The tech was supposed to bridge the gap in my own lack of long-range teeth. I hit the marsh fast. A few raptors were already circling the zone like hungry ghosts. They were my eyes. Huang, your prize is 3 kilometers out on your starboard side. Visual locked. No more talking. I'm diving. The thing knew the air had turned sour. For 48 hours, jets had been invading its home, tracking its every breath. To a local monster, those planes were just screaming supersonic headaches. Fast and loud. Every engine roar was a sting it wanted to crush into dust. Its long bloody nightmare was finally hitting the breaking point. A massive black shadow plummeted toward it with the force of a falling mountain. My presence felt like a wall. Even from 3,000 feet out, it smelled death. It shook to its core, paralyzed by the sudden suffocating weight in the atmosphere. Before it could blink, my claws slammed it into the mud. The speed even shocked me. My power used to feel dormant. Looking at the broken thing, I felt cheated. That was it. Down already, I hadn't even touched the triggers. It was too soft. Lights out. Now what hunt another command ordered me back to the cage first. Target 2 is 200 kilometers out. Our escorts can't fly that deep into the wild. We can't back you up. Besides, the lab needs that specimen for the doctors to poke. The scientists want a new toy. I sighed, grabbed the carcass, and flew home. I landed and skipped the questions. I just keyed the mic immediately. Let's go. Next one. Hold on, Huang. Before the Phoenix, we need a new plan. Take it easy in this fight. The Phoenix is the last of a dying breed. From our data, the total population out there has dropped by over 50%. We are looking at a species standing on the edge of the abyss. The government is drafting laws now to list it as a top-tier protected soul. So Huang, keep it non-lethal. I sat in silence before muttering a cold fine. I didn't expect that. 6 months here, and we're already playing zookeeper. Maybe that is just the price of a great nation trying to tame the world. The Phoenix nested in a tree of fire. It was sharper than the last target. It clocked me from 10 kilometers away and decided to draw first blood. I fired both missiles. I missed, but it pissed the bird off. It started spitting suns. I took the hits. I even swallowed the flames whole and didn't feel a thing. The bird was stunned. So was I. The doctor was right, I'm a lot stronger. Seeing my own power, I let go of the leash and charged with pure rage. But it was still a tier 6 threat. Its speed and magic kept it ahead. I wasn't worried. I finally saw why the doctor picked this specific target for me. On paper, I'm not built for speed. A faster enemy should have ripped me apart. But that raw frustration was exactly the spark I needed to evolve. My blood started boiling. The wounds didn't slow me, they just made me faster. I felt alive. In that brutal dance, something inside my head finally clicked. My soul and this dragon body fused. We are built for war. I am the law. I let out a low guttural snarl, a promise. The Phoenix was finally losing its grip. It had never seen a dragon get more terrifying as the clock ran out. The bird tried to break away and run. Then the whole world shifted. The creature's rhythmic breathing snapped as a raw, violent power suddenly erupted. A massive thunderbolt scorched the Phoenix. I lunged, coiled tight, and bit down hard. My fangs shredded its neck, spraying golden ichor as it shrieked in agony. Command and the brass logged every bloody moment of the slaughter as it happened. Expensive drones caught every angle, broadcasting my most humiliating failures to the world. They witnessed the tide turn during that last brutal moment of total carnage. Everyone watching felt their stomachs drop as the chaos unfolded without any mercy. Commander Guo yelled, "He is evolving. Hong is finally taming that monster inside him." The room cheered, but Dr. Ding just glared at the monitors, looking deeply worried. He worried that as the beast woke up, the human part of me died. It was a terrifying thought. Would the dragon eventually just erase who I was? Once the dust settled, Louis Han introduced me to some supposed head shrinker. I wasn't falling for the act. She was far too gorgeous to be professional. This felt like a setup, and she picked up on my vibe immediately. "Guilty," she remarked. "I am your physician and your government-assigned blind date." Pissed off, I snapped at Louis Han to find me a real professional instead. "Not happening," I growled, but she shut him down before he could even speak. "What's wrong? Terrified of a woman you cannot just bully into submission?" That question hit home. "How did you get in my head like that?" I demanded. "I studied your history, Hong. You have always struggled with that fragile ego." I shut up and shot Louis Han a look that said, "Get her out." She saw right through my armor and kept digging into my subconscious anyway. She was dangerous. "Look, Hong, do not get the wrong idea," she cautioned. "I'm an expert. Just grant me 3 minutes to show you my worth." I gave in. "Fine. You have 3 minutes. I will try to be polite." She checked her tablet. "Human women do not turn you on anymore, do they?" My tail twitched. "To be honest, no. My tastes have evolved quite a bit. I used to fall for looks, but now a supermodel wouldn't even register. Only a female of my own kind could actually make my heart race now. That is perfectly normal, Hong. Let me put it in perspective for you. People adore their pets, but they do not want to sleep with them." I froze. "Then why the hell am I sitting here on a date? Nobody wants a monster. That is just the cold, hard truth of it." "I am not attracted to you either." Her bluntness actually cut deep. She had my focus. I leaned forward, letting my inner beast show. I loomed over her, waiting for her professional mask to finally crack. She shook slightly, but did not flinch. "I am Gao Ying. Do not forget it." I sat back. Scaring her was pointless. She was tougher than she looked. I sighed. If this is all you have, I want a new doctor. She saw me as an arrogant prick, yet she clearly wanted the challenge. Hong, honestly, this whole find a wife mission is a total joke. I caught the game. She was playing hard to get, just to bait me. I refused to play along. There was no way I was biting that hook. They want a poster boy. A monster with the soul of a man. But a beast loving a human girl, that is just some fairy tale nonsense. So the strategy involves using this fraudulent dragon identity to showcase our military might and play the savior. Precisely, we are attempting to patch things over with rival races using some trashy star-crossed romance cliché. Civilians might swallow the sub-story, but the actual power players across our borders will smell the fraud. Dragons specifically, though. They'll view it as a direct provocation. They'll assume we used brutal psychological warfare to break that creature's spirit. Instead of a peace offering, they'll see a concealed weapon and label us a kingdom of lying vipers. This is why the romantic subplot for Mr. Huang's cover story is an absolute disaster in the making. I felt the same way. Gao was basically pulling the very thoughts out of my own head. Black dragons don't do arranged unions. They stalk their own life partners driven by cold, predatory survival instincts. Luhan's expression darkened. That's a valid point. I'll escalate these red flags to Dr. Ding immediately. The leadership needs to pivot. You belong on the council. Gao smiled, giving me a quick, knowing wink. Miss Gao, since you find the Beauty and the Beast angle so beneath me, what's your better idea? Actually, I have one. We should demonstrate our elite physics, our unbreakable statutes, and our superior reasoning. Sentimentality doesn't move every race. My angle Huang is a scholar dragon desperate for the ultimate truth. He stumbles into our civilization and witnesses everything particle acceleration, the very dawn of the cosmos. Calculus, atomic energy, the rhythm of the proton concepts he never imagined were real. He's totally hooked. Gradually, he recognizes his former home is just a dying shell. He smells the rot in ancient traditions. He hits a wall of absolute freezing clarity. Perfecting the intellect and the machine is the sole path to saving his species. It's brilliant, I interjected, applauding. My hands were already clapping before she even finished her last sentence. A narrative about enlightenment, betrayal, and the courage to torch the world for progress. That story has real teeth. The previous version, throwing your life away for some crush, was weak, childish, and frankly embarrassing. Luhan nodded. This is the play. I'm tracking down Dr. Ding now to force this rewrite through. He vanished in an instant. So how'd I do? Gao asked. Not too bad, I said. You barely made it. You're my consultant now. Then I'm excited to show you the ropes. The following afternoon, I was at the base when Gao came charging over looking completely wired. That morning, Dr. Ding had killed the original project and bet everything on her revolutionary dragon pitch. They were already gutting the dialogue. Here was the fresh narrative they'd hammered out during the briefing. A massive obsidian dragon, crippled by a dark hex, falls into our airspace, half dead and totally delirious. For safety, we strike him down with artillery and lock him up. Then the true metamorphosis begins. The beast starts absorbing our civilization, observing how we operate one scientific breakthrough at a time. Strain increases until something breaks. A complete mental overhaul. He finally wakes up to a higher reality. He chooses to spit on his fate and become history's first dragon defector. I processed that. It was tight, realistic, way better than some children's fable. I gave the signal and they moved. Gao gave the order that day, and before the sun dropped, the film crews were already working. By dinner, the story broke. Illegal dragon breach in the sector, targeted and neutralized by our guards. The report said he bypassed warnings and we dropped him. The internet went into a total tailspin instantly. Everyone was fixated on two things: what's the creature's status, and can you actually drink the blood? While theories spread, claiming dragon vitals were the key to hacking human DNA and unlocking god-level potential. The comments were swamped with people wanting to farm these creatures like cattle for their biological riches. A few people warned the blood was toxic, but nobody trusted the officials. They sensed a massive cover-up. Legends emerged from the outskirts, whispers of men drinking dragonfire and becoming indestructible killing machines. If the state labeled it poisonous, it just meant they were hoarding the supply for the elite. The only way to kill the rumors, one guy wrote, is to prove the blood is actually fatal. They'd have to parade that black dragon through the city square like a trophy for everyone to see. The mob was starving for a spectacle. They needed to lay hands on the legend to feel those scales, because seeing was their only path to belief. Only a show would silence the whispers, but the public frenzy was reaching a fever pitch, intensifying with every passing second. Every trending clip was buried under demands, people screaming for us to put that black beast on a chain for a city walk. The movement went nuclear in hours, topping the charts and spiraling into a chaotic whirlwind that defied any attempt at control. Meanwhile, on a desolate border ridge, I was locked in a lethal game. My asking price, £50 of gold for every liter of my veins. That figure is pure madness. The government has an iron grip on every single scrap of gold within these borders right now. Smuggling hundreds of pounds past the guards is a death sentence. Surely you want this to be more than just a one-time thing. Your logistical nightmares are not my concern. Keep the sub-stories for the week. I deal exclusively in gold. Do not mistake me for some naive girl. To pull off an operation of this magnitude, your pack has to be sleeping with the state. My terms are final. Why waste my breath on small-time crooks when I could negotiate with the feds? They are sitting on tens of thousands of tons. If I play this right, I could be the first of my bloodline to walk right in and sign a treaty with the government. Trading 10,000 bars for dragon essence would be a no-brainer for them. The men across from me looked like they'd seen a ghost. They never imagined I would have that specific ace up my sleeve. Following a suffocating silence, their leader finally cracked. But misread, if you turn to them, you are walking into a meat grinder. Their souls are rotten. They would strip their own citizens of every freedom and scent just to keep those gates locked tight. My species is hardly known for a spotless reputation. Why are you so sure I am not the one playing you for a fool? Because the stakes are sky high and you have the stomach for the gamble. The men had no comeback for that logic. They knew I was right. If they were not consumed by a hunger for power, they would never dare stand within striking distance of a dragon. Then again, I have always been the outlier among my own kind. I had spent decades blending in with the humans, mastering their etiquette, their twisted logic, and their filthiest little secrets. That was the catalyst for this insane blood sale, but my history meant I was far too dangerous for them to ever cage. They had bled themselves dry just to grind my price down from 100 pounds of gold to 50. I was not moving a single gram lower than that mark. The only reason I even offered that break was their devotion to the god of the market. They had traded their wealth and their very spirits to him just to survive as outlaws beyond the state territory. Misread, if you hand over the secret to brewing your blood into that elixir, we will meet your price. You are asking for the recipe to the dragon's brew. What kind of death wish are you harboring? That concoction is an ancient force that grants a mere mortal the raw power of a deity. It was a blessing for your kind and a death sentence for mine. Handing that over is just giving you a map to hunt my kin. I have my pride as a dragon. Well, I do, unless you are prepared to make me a much better offer. The man crept closer. What is the new number? I stared him down and demanded 100 tons of gold. Why not just kill us and take it? I told him the thought had crossed my mind, but that formula is a bargain at any price. This is a gift. With that power, you could erase your species' weaknesses and rule this rock. We are talking about your entire national legacy. Are you really going to haggle over 100 tons when the very soul of your country is on the line? We are ghosts, exiles. We cannot go back. We cannot produce even 1 ton of gold out here in the dirt. If your pockets are empty, get your handlers to pay. Stop the theater. You exiles are still tethered to the state by a million invisible wires. Every move you make in the shadows is being recorded and approved by the suits at the top. If the state actually wanted to end the border crossings with their tech, do you really think you would still be breathing? Misread, you have a terrifying grasp on our classified internal business. He looked rattled. He knew their lies were on a timer, but he never expected a dragon to pull back the curtain. Dragons are usually useless at spy games. My level of intel was a total shock to his nervous system. Naturally, I know. Your people are loaded, and you are the most lethal civilization this world has ever had to endure. Even the gods are losing sleep over your progress. I walk this world alone, so I have to know exactly who is sharpening a blade for me. Tracking your kind is just basic survival. The man sighed, admitting the deal was far above his pay grade. I need to retreat and consult the higher-ups before I can commit. Fine, I replied, but only one of you walks away today. Clock's ticking, you have 4 hours. I need a straight answer before the sun drops, or your 2 friends get their throats cut right here. Dragons are famous for their empty bluffs, but trust me, she's dead serious about this. 2 hours slipped by. Just 3 to go, one whispered. Can old Jiang pull this off? He has to. That man lives by his code and never folds. It was old Zhang who was pulling all the strings from the start. An ex-rich kid turned rogue with high-level ties and ice in his veins. He designed their underground smuggling route from scratch. When our realities crashed together and everyone else froze in terror, a few cold-blooded sharks started hunting in the dark. They quickly saw that the magic world beyond the wall was way more addictive and lethal than our dull daily lives. This was way before the feds even grasped how bad the situation was getting. Zhang's inner circle had already guided over 100 desperate pioneers deep into that alien wilderness. Within 6 months, they hit 10,000 members, with millions more shivering at the edge of the abyss. It was a massive power grid connecting big money boardrooms directly to the halls of government. The chaos only quit when the feds finally seized the gold and shut the whole border down tight. Without that crackdown, 20,000 escapees would have turned into millions in just half a year. Buying a fresh start as a free man on the other side cost exactly 1 pound of gold. 1 million runaways meant 500 tons of gold gone. Shia's market would have flatlined instantly under that kind of weight. The whole nation was circling the drain. The red dragon just smirked. Take a breath. It is fine. Even if he fails, you live. What is that human proverb? What is the most valuable thing on this planet? Pure talent. People are the true money. Get the right brains on your side, and the riches and power follow naturally. You three had the guts to find a way out. Your wits and your instincts are leagues ahead of the rest. Dead men do not make money. I would much rather have you working for me in my inner circle. The pair shared a baffled look, confused by her sudden charm. It felt like she was trying to recruit them. I have actually grown quite partial to your kind. Shia is not your typical spot on the map. It is a monster of a society disguised as a peaceful country, playing it cool on the surface. It looks safe, but it is built to swallow everything in its path. Even an old soul like me 1,000 years in felt the gravity of Shia's vibe after just one taste. Your history is a flash only a few thousand years. I know dragons older than your whole species. Still, your world has more soul and life than my people built in 100,000 years. My home is a dead-end, god-infested dump. Just endless, grueling war and total madness. You guys showing up is a miracle. This decaying world needs a serious shake-up to fix the rules. It needs a reboot. Meanwhile, I was faking my death in a military truck while we raced toward the command base. A professional camera crew caught every single thing we did. They were crafting the story Evil Dragon versus the good guys, keeping the hype train moving on every social feed. I was set to be the first dragon to go viral in front of the whole world. TV executives were already hyping a primetime reality show titled Dragon Face to Face. They wanted to school the public on our nature so morons would stop using our blood as medicine while scientists watched the stream. Car watched the monitor as news crews dissected every frame of the black dragon being taken down. Seeing a missile shred a beast that tough made her realize she was one mistake away from the grave. She did not even want to think about what those high-tech guns would do to her skin. Perhaps it was time to finally start studying those science books. The local mantra was simple: know your enemy and yourself, and you will never lose a fight. To tear down Shia's whole society, she needed to learn the blueprint and the laws that powered it. Yet every attempt triggered a deep terror, a psychic chain from her boss keeping her in line. At first, she could not stand a single thing about the people in Shia. Their talk, their writing, and their tech made her physically sick with total disgust. But for some strange reason, that spite was melting away, replaced by a desperate, burning need to truly understand them. I watched that massive black tower fall from the sky today. Care finally snapped. She swore her master ordered that blood sacrifice. She tore through books like a ghost at a feast, watching reality dissolve. Blind devotion became a slow poison. For 100 years, she never flinched. Her will was solid steel until 6 months in that alien city broke her. Now her heart was crumbling under the weight of a heavy dead silence. This weird culture was warping her. She blamed the locals for being leeches. If they hadn't shoved their gadgets on her, she would still be loyal. Their films about space myths and massive projects finally tore her mind apart. Living in the test facility actually got easier after a few days. I would shoot a few scenes, then have the rest of the day free. It was quiet. Mostly I just plugged in or drifted off to sleep. Going was my anchor, even if our sessions felt more like shooting the breeze. No medical jargon, just the news and the boring bits of a normal life. We would just scroll through feeds and watch movies until I finally questioned it. I told her flat out that this did not feel like real therapy. She insisted it was a tactic to keep my brain tethered to reality. It was strange, but I was starving for any link to the living. Actually, getting back into society felt like a solid plan for once. That night, I hit up the old group. I am back. Did you idiots miss me? A message popped up, Huang. We figured you skipped town for the frontier. That is crazy. Stepping outside that wall is a suicide mission for us. Fan's response was cold. Yeah, it is a meat grinder, unless you are loaded. If you have got the cash, those local gods out there, take your money. Hand over 1 pound of gold for a blessing and you walk safely. That was Zia's move. That coward did not even say goodbye to the crew. Now the state has locked down all gold transfers. Escaping is not easy. This chat is not secure. Want to meet tonight? Oh, I am still miles away. I am grounded. What about Pan? Word is he started worshipping a dark god. They wiped his profile and jailed him. Pan was a brilliant grad student. How does a smart guy fall for a cult? Is he even coming home? He will pull through, but he is marked. He was obsessed with those telescopes. Every spare minute he had was spent staring into the dark heart of space. He was fine until our whole reality fell through a crack into nightmare. Those stars are not just gas. They are alive, nameless entities watching us. Looking too closely through a lens invites the crazy. Pan's group got hooked. That thing turned them into digital recruiters hunting for fresh minds to rot. The feds picked them up for some serious brain-scrubbing sessions. A heavy chill sank into my bones. Everyone I knew was just vanishing. The shift had broken everything. Beneath the surface, a dark tide was pulling. Hang, where were you? Cops were all over your place asking questions? You in deep know, just a disastrous date, I lied. A mining accident. I signed off in a hurry. Got to go. Let us catch up later. Got it. Just remember, we are in your corner. Do not handle this solo. The moment I closed the app, a ping came in. Gao Ying saw and blocked it. Look, that's my page. At least run it by me first, even if it's a total scam. The alert says she's a priestess of Freya, the goddess of lust. Apparently, some god guided her straight to my profile to unlock a joint blessing and make us eternal soulmates. There's the catch. Freya is just a foreign myth from across the ocean. Her power shouldn't touch Shia soil. These online friend requests are just low-rent grifters looking for a payday. I wasn't buying it. Deep down, I knew Gao Ying was just playing bodyguard because she was terrified of losing her grip on me. This mystery woman clearly wanted a piece of me, the rare, untainted prize I am. See for yourself, the web is crawling with warnings about this exact hustle. In this reality, Freya is actually a real entity. Using a goddess's name to rob people is just a high-stakes version of selling bootleg handbags on the street. I chewed on that for a second. Maybe she was right. I started weighing the local climate. Is Freya really that big here in Shia? Absolutely. The hunger for romance is the ultimate human motivator. We have millions of lonely hearts in this country, all of them hitting the panic button on being single. Still, her influence is supposed to stop at the border. If it didn't, she might actually fix our social wreckage. Then it hit me. If we could get Freya to back a dating app, we'd be sitting on a gold mine. The profits would be insane. The logic felt airtight the more I spiraled into the idea. In the future, if her followers come knocking, give me a heads up before you shut them out. But they aren't followers, Mr. Hang. They're just ghosts, using a sacred name to pick your pockets. You're in a league of your own. We can't have you getting mixed up with these shady characters. I'm your therapist. It's literally my job to filter the trash. I couldn't help but smirk. Why the heat? I'm not some naive kid chasing fairy tales. I'm not that easy to roll. I wanted to say yes because I'm curious about the Freya hype. Connecting with a devotee could lead to a massive deal. Besides, she's a goddess. Who are we to say her power stops at a line in the dirt? Maybe the girl really was guided by some higher force to find my digital footprint. Maybe she's the one. Destiny isn't real, she snapped back. If this goddess is so powerful, why the DM? Why not just call you I froze? Gao Ying's logic was lethal. My line is dead. This phone is yours, tied to your private number. Silence from Gao Ying. But if Freya is a god and her reach is limitless, finding my digits should be a breeze. If that girl was truly sent by the heavens, she'd be ringing this phone this very second. The words barely left my mouth before Gao Ying's phone buzzed. Unknown caller. A cold chill hit Gao Ying, though she hid it fast. Just a spoofed number, she whispered. Another thief. She swiped ignore. The timing was too perfect to be just a coincidence. I was rattled, but I didn't want to hurt her ego by gloating. I stayed quiet. Then it rang again. She killed the second call, then a third, then a fourth. Right before she killed the power entirely, I stopped her. Pick it up. Running won't change the truth. You're the pro here, right? Gao Ying took a breath, regaining her ice-cold focus. She squared her shoulders and clicked accept. Talk to me. Who is this? A dead silence, then a shaky female voice. Hello is Hangaround. Nobody here by that name, she lied. Wrong number. That's impossible. The goddess just gave me this line. She told me I'd find Hang right here. Gao Ying turned ghost white. She signaled the tech team to trace the call while she kept the girl talking. Freya, you're claiming to be a disciple of the goddess of love. Better than that, the voice answered. I am her chosen holy maiden. Gao Ying's eyes sharpened. A holy maiden, why would she send you after him? To claim our shared fate. Freya named him her holy son. We belong together and I won't wait. Freya's power shouldn't reach Xia. How did you break the spiritual block? Gold. I crossed the border and burned 100 pounds of pure gold as a sacrifice to her. Even the ice-cold Gao Ying almost cursed. 100 pounds of gold was worth over $25 million. With Xia's brutal border laws, smuggling that much bullion out was an impossible feat for a commoner. The woman reeked of generational wealth and held a level of influence that was honestly terrifying. Gao Ying kept turning the screws. You realize that skipping the country with that much gold is a federal offense, right? Obviously. That is why I have to find him immediately so we can disappear together. Gao Ying just stared at the phone in pure disbelief. The girl on the other end was dangerously clueless. Since you're her favorite, you must have all the confidential details. Naturally. What are you after, thinking about joining our flock? Gao Ying decided to lean into the deception. Maybe, but I need to understand the logistics first. How exactly does she pull the strings? What are you asking? The girl paused for a heartbeat. Specifically, how does she determine the perfect matches for her followers? Is it some massive algorithm or something else? The girl sounded completely confused. What are you talking about? She is the Queen of Hearts. Her following is massive, at least 30 million people. That is a heavy workload for one divine being. I want to know if she maintains a giant database and uses a script to play matchmaker. The girl was livid. How dare you mock her? I am reporting this heresy to her this very second. She will curse you to be lonely until your final breath. Oh wow, I am literally shaking. Is this really the best your deity can do for a holy vessel, someone so incredibly small-minded? I am the conduit. I will stay composed. I almost let you bait me into forgetting my actual mission. Listen to me, lady. I'm searching for him. Would you please just connect us? Gao Ying was ready to cut the line. Then she remembered my warning. She glanced at me with a silent question. I gave her a firm headshake. Gao Ying had actually raised a point that genuinely bothered me. How did this woman manipulate everyone? What were her metrics for soulmates? Did she look at physical traits, values, or just basic personality? Or was it just a random roll of the dice? Or maybe she was literally rewriting the human desire code? Was she brainwashing people to force two strangers into a life together? The more I pondered it, the darker it became. This goddess might not be the kind-hearted savior the legends made her out to be. Seeing my signal to end it, Gao Ying looked pleased. She said, sorry, he's not available. You have the wrong number. Normally, she would have just ended the call right then and there. But the surveillance guys needed more time to track the signal, so Gao Ying had to stall. Impossible. I dialed with my eyes closed. You are just a bitter woman trying to stand in my way. Have you completely lost your mind, girl? How is a blind guess supposed to be a legitimate way to reach someone? You do not understand. I closed my eyes so she could lead me. Her hand literally moved my fingers to dial this exact sequence. Dr. Ding Xuan, who had just walked in, looked grim. He never expected her reach to bypass our secure perimeter. A heavy sense of dread washed over Gao Ying. Then the voice on the phone spoke again. Put him on the line now, or you will regret every choice you have ever made. I know the man, but I'm not putting you through. Why, if I was disrespectful, I can apologize. I'm sorry. Please let me talk to him. Gao Ying looked at me and said flatly, no, he's my boyfriend. I am not sharing. Liar. I am his destiny. She declared it herself. Do not try to intimidate me with your cult threats. Her influence stops at the state line. Fine. So you have chosen to be my enemy. I will track him down and you will pay for this. By now, Gao Ying was legitimately pissed off. Why wait, give me your name. We can settle this face to face if you actually have the guts. The girl took the bait. My name is Wen Ran. Then the connection went stone cold. I did not hang up. Wait, let us see if she tries back. He turned to the head tech guy. The signal utilized the custom encryption we have never encountered. Our current hardware cannot crack it. It seemed like a higher power was personally shielding the entire communication channel. We had to know why she was hunting him and how she found him. Was this really some supernatural event? He suspected a breach in security. His theory was that a fanatic had leaked his location to the goddess. I thought they said her reach was neutralized in this territory. So what is the deal with her? We actually saw this coming a mile away. She's the most widely followed deity in the country. We are talking over 30 million fanatics. Spiritual liberty is part of our DNA. Keeping it locked away is impossible. That latest stunt didn't rattle us. We had already wargamed 10 times worse. Just imagine the second the thin veil between our reality and hell snaps. Forget the bloodthirsty deities, the sheer volume of monsters would be totally uncontrollable. Everyone feels it, the wall is failing and the end is coming fast. We must stay sharp and be ready for total catastrophe at any moment. Night fell without a word from that divine shill. Freya likely smelled the trap. By that time, most of the facility crew had already punched out. I stood alone, scanning the southwest horizon for a glimpse of that throne. My vision was a total letdown, unable to pull the stars into focus. Still, a creature like me has absolute authority over every single biological cell. It clicked: if I focused, I could manually hack my own genetic code. I could overhaul my organs, making my eyes as sharp as a telescope. That thought took hold and I shut my eyes to begin the shift. I ripped an electric current from heart to skull, glowing through my hide. The tech on duty panicked at the sight and scrambled for Dr. Ding. Ding burst in, gasping for air, but my visual evolution was already done. I explained my win. The doc was floored by my biohacking abilities. I had basically found the master key to reshaping my body on command. Give me 1 trillion kilowatt hours and I will slaughter those gods in heaven. It sounded like a fantasy, but Ding swore those gods weren't born divine. Between your talent and our country's backing, you could easily outshine them all. The old guard has ruled too long. We need a brand new order. 8 days in, and my confinement had become the nation's favorite obsession. My reputation was slowly shifting away from being just a mindless predator. They rebranded me a rational ally, blaming my old fury on a curse. The story was that the barrier saved me, finally letting my sanity return. State news started hinting that the legendary Great Black Dragon, driven by nothing but pure fascination, had fallen for our way of life and might stay for good. The web exploded. Half the world wanted me dead. Half wanted me worshipped. Haters called me a ticking bomb, a beast that could never be truly loyal. 2 massive internet tribes went to war over my right to exist. Officials steered the chaos, even though making me official was playing with fire. To sell the lie, they decided to stage my big return to nature. By the next afternoon, reports claimed I had slipped into a mysterious coma. They blamed magical burnout. The top brass at the academy sounded the alarm. After some theatrical medical tests and a few staged frantic diagnoses, High Command ordered me exile, broadcasting footage of my heavy-duty transport. The convoy crawled through checkpoint number 2 in a heavy dead silence. No farewell parties, just a government camera recording as I was hauled away. Watching me leave, reporter Wang Xiaoying felt a sharp, sudden knot of grief. A cop had promised her a scoop if I woke up before leaving. Even with my fame, the press was always kept at a cold distance. She panicked, knowing this one-in-a-century scoop was slipping through her fingers. I caught you at the perimeter. Crossing over, she smirked. Just moving files, she said. I warned her things change out there. He'll kill you, she shrugged. I've got this. Look, Wang, someone's got to risk it. These things have massive egos. To win him over, you face him while he's lethal. I'm there when he wakes, or this works toast. Anything else? No, I'm out. Wait, I barked. I'm coming. You acted shocked, then shot me down. Too damn risky. That was the hook, the reaction she'd engineered. She'd been dangling bait all day, waiting for the bite. It was theater for the lens. She wanted me begging. I snapped. You said it's safe. Why the pivot? Safe for me, not you. He's different out there. We have history. You're just some total stranger. If he snaps, I'm not carrying your corpse. I cut in. Forget the liability, just drive. I'm in. The tires crossed the line. The beast took a breath. Static hummed as a shimmering rift pulsed around him. Finally, those massive soul-piercing eyes snapped wide. The vibe shifted. Beyond the bars, he was a deity. He stretched his massive frame, roared at the sky, and torched the truck with fire. The steel became a glowing pool of liquid slag. You hissed at me. Shut it, let me handle him. We rolled forward right into the dragon's kill zone. He glared pure malice. Easy days, it's just you. She stepped out alone, playing her part. I watched, terrified. He lowered his head until his snout touched her face. Minutes passed. Finally, he exhaled. You're brave, little human. You're a friend. I don't usually do thank yous. But you freed me. I'm in your debt. You beamed. Is that the name? He stared at the horizon. It is, though it's been ages since I used it. Slaves have no names. A god kept me bound 300 years. She apologized. He just sighed. The past is all ash. Your kind was annoying, but you didn't cage me. You gave me freedom. I won't forget that kindness. Glad to hear. Days meet Wang. She wants your tail. He looked at me like I was a snack. Fine. Your people earned respect. I will talk. Appreciated, Mr. Days. Tell us, who are you exactly? Just a northern dragon, 300 years old. I spent centuries in irons until my captor died. I fled here. Days is only the start. The rest is a map of my entire lineage. Listing my ancestors wastes 15 minutes. Let's skip the fluff. Truth I was faking. Even my name's a total mystery. It's a prehistoric jagged dialect humming with raw magic. Humans can't mimic this. Wang's face fell instantly. I expected a bloodthirsty nightmare before we actually met. You're surprisingly chill, nothing like the beast in that cage. Why the shift? Don't you guys have a proverb? Mood swings, I'm free, so I'm happy. For now. Wang recoiled. You've got a dark wit. Fluent, too. Draconic talent or just some universal understanding spell. Your dialect is preschool level. I mastered it instantly. So you played as just a spectator this whole time. Partially. That curse was eating me. The rage was real. Otherwise, I was just stalling while I studied you. Your nation is grand, formidable, and utterly terrifying. You're fragile and faithless among gods. That's a tragedy. As an immortal, what's your one piece of advice? Put zero faith in those so-called deities. Better a devil than a god. What's left then? I stayed silent, watching the sun bleed into the horizon. Time to move. Wang had questions but backed off. I coiled to jump when the girl rushed me. Wait. I picked a few hundred books, humanity's greatest hits. You'll find value here. I gave a respectful nod. Check this one out. She handed over a manifesto. The defining moment. A dragon finally finding his place. The spark that turns a monster into a revolutionary. Then everything broke. My pupils snapped into razor slits. No warning, I just exhaled, blasting her to safety. Suddenly the sunset erupted into a blinding white glare. It scorched her footprints. Heaven finally took a shot.